Hey guys, so we want to do a tour today of our chicken coop that we finally got finished up. So we got the idea for the design kind of from the Carolina coops, the same kind of style that they do, as well as just watching some other YouTube videos and seeing what other people were doing. So this is our first chicken coop. Pretty happy with how it turned out, and I'm going to go ahead and give you a tour of how the coop operates. So I just want to kind of give you a rundown of the functionality of the doors. So on all the doors, we've got the carabiner clips here, and those clip through on the gate latches. That way you can't open any of the latches. So we do that to make sure that it's predator proof. We can store them down here out of the way. And then during the summer months when it's warm, we can open both of these up. We've got hooks here so that we can hook the doors open and we don't have to worry about the wind blowing the doors. So those will stay open and we can get plenty of ventilation into the hen house. And then when it's time for clean out, we open the large doors. They have hooks as well. This door is secured by 2 barrel bolts. As you can see here, one at the bottom, one at the top. And then we have the tailgate style door. Has a barrel bolt on this side. A gate latch over here. So when it comes time to change out the shavings, we can just pull our wheelbarrow up beside the coop and rake everything out, close it back up, and refill. As far as the doors and windows, we've got slides on the side windows. They have 1/4-inch hardware cloth to make them predator proof because they go outside the coop. From the coop to the run, we got a pulley system up in the roof. We have a guillotine style door. That way we can lock it into place. And we have guillotine style windows so that when the coop is closed, we don't have to open the doors to move these windows or the guillotine door. As far as the nesting boxes go, we've got the clips here as well. These are really inexpensive. You can get these pretty cheap. And then we've got a similar gate latch here. So we can drop down, reach into the nesting boxes to gather the eggs. Our chicks are about 5 weeks old, so we don't have any eggs yet. And we did have straw on the nesting boxes, but looks like they didn't care too much for it. But eventually they'll learn the purpose for it. We decided to go with the drop down for the side because a lot of the videos that we watched said that if you open it up from above, it tends to scare the chickens because their natural predators usually come from above. So we decided to have the drop down boxes from the side. So you can see we got our weather vane installed up on the peak of the roof. And our roof pitch is a 5 and 12 pitch. So the roofing that we decided to use is this roll roofing. It's usually designed to go in valleys of roofs, but we decided to use it to cover the entire roof with it. It was pretty simple. It's got a stick down application that makes it pretty easy. We did some drip edge around it to protect the wood. All of the wood on the coop is just regular pine 2x4s. Other than around the foundation, we have pressure treated 4x4s. Anything that's in contact with the ground. The rest of the wood is all just pine 2x4s, and we painted everything with an exterior semi-gloss paint so the water will run off of it. So showed you how the doors function. We've got the run that extends underneath the hen house. We've got some of these solar powered LED lights that light everything up really nice. at nighttime. So if we go around this way, you can see that we've got our watering system that we'll detail later in the video. The dimensions of our coop is 8 foot wide by 16 feet long. It worked out really good so we wouldn't have much waste that way. And then these sections are 4 feet wide, and that works out good for the hardware cloth because you can buy it in 4 foot wide rolls. So this is a 1/4 inch mesh hardware cloth, and we stapled it from the inside on the backs of these 2x4s, and then we went again on the inside and put another layer of 2x4s over top of that, screwed into these 2x4s from the back side so nothing can push through there. And then along the ground we've got a 2 foot barrier of 1/2 inch hardware cloth that comes out. I've got some pictures that'll be detailed later in the video explaining that. The idea is that it's really predator proof. We're kind of not really out far from the city. We've got some hardwoods behind us here, and we've had coyotes and foxes and all the wildlife. So we're in South Carolina, and we really wanted to make it predator proof, knowing that we had coyotes and foxes around. So we really made sure that we have the tight mesh here as opposed to just the regular chicken wire. We have to worry about snakes. We shouldn't have that issue here. We were really careful when we were building it to make sure that we didn't have any gaps larger than a 1/4 inch. And then with the predator barrier around the base, nothing should be able to burrow underneath. So we really took care to make sure we were predator proof. So we've got the gutter system here. That was just a gutter system that I got at Lowe's and put it all together. I've never ran any of that before, but it was pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory. So again, here's our rain barrel for our watering system that we'll detail a little later in the video. And if you come around to the back side here, we've got our fencing from our garden that comes up, and we can close off both sections so that the chickens will be able to eventually, as our plants get larger, the chickens will be able to come out straight from the run into the garden and help take care of some of our bugs. So we've got our door here has the latch to get in, and then we've also got the latch up high. As you open the door, it'll hook back over there on that side. I'm not going to open it now because go ahead and open it there up in the, so that door will hook in place. As you're cleaning it, you don't have to worry about it closing back on you. And we've got springs here to help assist in closing the door. So you can see we've got our automatic feeder hanging on this side, and we'll detail how we constructed that a little later in the video. And as you can see, there's a good bit of fall at our land here, so we didn't want to backfill with a lot of dirt, so we just ended up kind of sloping the construction of the coop so that we could not have to backfill so much dirt. Now that you've taken a tour of the coop, let's take a look at a series of pictures and videos of how we constructed the coop, as well as how we constructed the automatic watering system and feeding system.
Watch this.
We got our automatic chicken water here that's going to be gravity fed from our rain barrel. So we added the chicken nozzles on each, and we'll raise it up to the right height where they can drink from it. We'll have this lid on here. Got some 1/4 inch clear tubing. It's 1/4 inch ID. A couple of different fittings here to get us set up where we can screw on to the bottom of the rain barrel with a seal. We got just a simple float valve we got here, just like you'd see in your toilet, just a smaller version. Water comes out here, fills the bucket up. Once it reaches the adjusted level here, the float comes up, shuts the water off. So this will be hooked to our rain barrel. As the chickens consume water, the level drops, flow comes on, fills this back up, and shuts the water off. Got it elevated up for the chickens. All the nozzles are on. Got this lid that'll be snapped down firm once everything's finished up here. So you can see we got the float valve here, and it's just a slow trickle coming in from the 1/4 inch ID tubing that we put in that goes up to the spigot on the rain barrel. So once it fills up to the level I've got it set at, the flow will stop. And then once the chickens drink water and the water level drops. Turns back on. So it'll just be a slow gravity feed that will catch up to itself once the water level drops about 2 inches, which is nowhere near where the spouts are at the bottom for the chickens. This will be a sealed system, so there's no way mosquitoes or bugs or anything can get into it. And over here we've got the rain barrel set up with the spigot on the bottom. Got the hose curling down like this, so hopefully any rainwater that hits the hose will come down and drip off of the hose rather than running through inside the coop. Got the gutter system here. The downspout comes down, feeds into the rain barrel, and I've just got it attached here at the bottom so that it doesn't move around. And this screen is supposed to prevent mosquitoes from being able to access the water. And then in the event of heavy rain and overflow, there is an overflow valve here, as well as I've got it pitched that way just a little bit, so when I tested it yesterday with the hose, any puddling water runs off this side away from the coop. That's our gravity fed automatic chicken watering setup. It said on the package for the automatic watering nozzles that you had to take the chickens to it and teach them how to use it. We just set the bucket out, filled the water level up, and let them kind of explore it on their own. People say that they're kind of attracted to shiny things like the silver pieces in the center, as well as things that are red. So we just wanted to see if they would take to it on their own, and they did. All right, so we're working on our automatic chicken feeder now. So we've taken a 3.5 inch hole saw and just drilled out, and we saved our plugs. What we're doing is cutting about 1/3 off of it and putting a little bit of silicone on a 90-degree 3-inch connection. We just cut that in half with the miter saw. And on the angled part that's left over, we cut the plug and put it on there with some silicone. That way, on the inside of this, when the chickens are trying to eat, they can only access this small area here. And when these are installed in the bucket like this, that's going to keep the feed from pouring out of the holes, and it'll only come up through the bottom like this. All right, so what we ended up doing was putting some of this white duct tape around the outer edge, and that way face it down with the feeder part down like this. As we put it in the bucket, you can kind of work it back and forth. Fit it in the hole, and then we've got all 4 feeders here, and we can put the lid on it, and we can hang this at the right height. Then the chickens can reach in here and get their feed. This will keep them from turning their heads and spitting the feed out and making a big mess and wasting feed. So we finally got our automatic chicken feeder mounted. So as you can see, now we've got the feed in it, and they can come in here and peck at the feed and get it out of there. We can adjust the height as the chickens grow. Got it suspended here, and got the lid locked on it. And then when it's time to add feed, we can just pull the lid off and add the feed, and it should stay nice and clean for the chickens. You can kind of see the bucket is a little opaque, so you can see the level of the feed inside the bucket. See how long it takes the chickens to figure out that they can use automatic feeder. They're checking it out. They're thinking about it. Looks like they finally figured it out. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions about how we built the coop, reach out to us and we'll try to answer them as best we can.